Welcome to CKLA Unit 2, Lesson 1 of Skills. Today we will be practicing our new spelling words. We will read different short and long vowel spellings. And we will ask and answer questions about key details in the story Mike's Bedtime. Remember, you will get your spelling list today in your packet. You need to study these words throughout the week and look for the patterns. We will have a test on Friday over these words. This week, our spelling words will all end in ED, and they will be rules that we have discussed and we have talked about in class. There will also be that one tricky word at the end, the last word. You can't sound that word out. It'll have to be memorized because it has a tricky sound in it, something that doesn't follow the rules. First, we're going to read our spelling words. We're going to read the words without the suffix ED added to the end of them. And then we're going to add our ED to each one of our spelling words. Yell. Say the word yell. When we change the word yell to yelled, it means that you yelled in the past. So it's something that happened already. All right, let's put our hand in the air, our finger in the air, and let's touch spell yelled. Y-E-L-L-E-D. Yelled. Yank. Yank. Say the word yank. Now we're going to add an ED to it. So let's put our finger in the air, and yank means to like pull on something. Let's spell the word yanked. Y-A-N-K-E-D. Yanked. Slump. Say the word slump. Slump. If you slump down in your seat, you're kind of hunkering down. Slump. Now when we add the suffix ed, the word becomes slumped. So you did this in the past. So let's take our finger and let's write the word in the air and spell it. Slumped. S-L-U-M-P-E-D. Slumped. Limp. Limp. You know, if you walk with a limp, you're kind of dragging that one leg. Maybe if someone's hurt, they may limp. Say the word limp. Limp. When we add an ed to the word limp, it becomes limped. And you know how it makes that t sound that ed does? Because you know ed makes different sounds. Here it's limped. Sounds like a T, but it's an ed. Every word this week, except for your tricky word, will have the ending ed on it. All right, let's put our finger in the air and let's write the word limped. L-I-M-P-E-D. Limped. So don't forget, every word except for your tricky word ends in what? Good, an ed this week. Also, you won't have any capital letters. Make sure you use all lowercase letters this week. So far, our words that we've added ed to, our suffix ed, we just add ed to the word and we haven't changed the root word yet. Now we're going to have a different rule. Now we're going to double the consonant. So you've got a short vowel, ah, and you're going to double the consonant at the end before you add ed. This word is plop. If you plop, you kind of drop something like nonchalantly. You plop down. Say the word plop. Plop. Now say the word plopped. Plopped. Now you notice that ed, it says t at the end of plopped. Now let's put our finger in the air and let's spell the word plopped. P-L-O-P-P-E-D. P-E-D, plot. This word is smile. Now, this word, the rule is that if the word ends in an E, the reason it ends in an E is because that I is saying its name. So it's a long I. So if the word already ends in an E, you're just going to add a D to it. So you're basically taking that E off and adding ED. This word is smile. Say the word smile. Smile. Show me a smile. Good. Those lips go up, right? You're happy. Now say the word smiled. Smiled. This would mean that the smile happened in the past. So that action happened already. Now let's put our finger in the air and let's spell the word smiled. S-M-I-L-E-D. Smiled. Say the next word. Shrug. Shrug. You think if someone shrugs their shoulders, they're kind of just throwing them up in the air a little bit, like maybe they don't know the answer, maybe they're a little aggravated with something, but they're shrugging their shoulders. When you say the word shrug, you've got a short U followed by a consonant. So here we're going to double the consonant again. The word becomes shrugged. Say the word shrugged. Shrugged. You notice the ED here says D. Now let's write the word in the air and let's spell it. Shrugged. S-H-R-U-G-G-E-D. Shrugged. Now we have one of those words that ends in E. So the word is like. And the reason that that I says its name is because of that sneaky E. Say the word like. Like. Now you know the rule for E. If the word ends in an E and we're adding ED to it, we drop that E and we add ED. So basically all you're adding to this word is a D. Say the word liked. Liked. You hear that ED makes the T sound. Now let's put our finger in the air and let's write the word liked. L-I-K-E-D. Liked. Now let's see if you remember. Here we have a short vowel followed by a consonant. What do we do with that consonant before we add ED to the end? You double the consonant, right? So we're going to take that T and we're going to double it to make it a past tense, to make it happen in the past. Say the word pat. Pat. Now look at your word with the ED added to the end of it. Patted. Patted. You only hear that T one time, but we have to double that consonant. Now let's put our finger in the air and let's write the word patted. P-A-T-T-E-D. Patted. Now we've got our tricky word. Our tricky word, you can't sound it out because it's got a rule breaker in it. This word is you. Say the word you. You. Now let's write the word you. Y-O-U. Now, with each one of these words, practice with your parents, practice with someone at home, and try to make a sentence with each one of these words. Throughout the week, maybe practice taking a spelling test, practice writing these words maybe on a marker board, but be sure you're practicing all of your words and sounds. Every word ends in what? ED. Good. Except for your tricky word. Make sure that you don't have capital letters when you're practicing these words. But throughout the week, be sure that you look at these 10 spelling words and practice them with someone at home. Be sure and hang this letter or this list of spelling words and the activities that it gives you that you could do at home. Hang it on your refrigerator. Put it somewhere at home where you can see it and you can practice it throughout the week. Now let's review some of our vowel sounds that we have learned so far. We're going to start with our short vowel sounds. I, I. Make the I sound. Now let's read the words. Pit, sit, fit, lip, I. Can you think of other short I words? Eh. Make the sound eh. Now let's read the words. Bed, fed, pet, bell. Ah. Make the sound ah. This is a short A sound. Now let's read the words. Hat, sat, rat, cap. Now let's look at this next group of words. Some of these have a blend in the front of the word, so these are a little different, but we're still making that ah sound. Let's read those words. Flat, hat, clap, snap. Make the sound. Now let's read these words. Run, fun, sun, cup. The sound. Now let's read the words. Pot, hot, mop, sock. Now today we will learn a couple of new sounds for our vowels. These will be our long vowel sounds. Now look at the word bake. You can see that you have A is your vowel, and that E at the end, you can't hear it. The E has a job. The E is kind of the sneaky E. It makes the A say its name. So it tells you that that A is a long vowel sound, and it's going to say its name. So we kind of call it the sneaky E because it sneaks up there, but you don't hear it. Say the word bake, bake. Now look at the way we identified our sounds in bake. Do you guys see how we circled our consonant sounds? What are your consonant sounds in bake? B, k. What about your vowels? What's the vowel that you hear in bake? Good. You hear the letter A, right? You hear the long A. Now, do you see how they connected the A with the E? Do you hear the E sound? No, you don't hear the E sound. But look at how they connected the A and the E. You're going to be doing this in an activity coming up. Now let's touch spell the word bake. B, A, K. So you don't hear that E, right? We just know to put the E at the end because that E makes the A say its name. Now let's practice reading some other long vowel sound words. 8, A, T. Late, L, A, T. You don't hear that E, do you? Made, M, A, D. Safe, S, A. Remember that sneaky E makes it say its name. Gives that A the long vowel sound. Sail, S, A, L. Name, M, A, M. Remember, these are the long A sounds, and that sneaky E makes the A say its name. Let's try another vowel spelling. This is your long I. It's the same rule. You have your sneaky E, and that sneaky E will make the I say its name. Let's read the word. Time. T-I-M. All you hear with the vowels is the letter I. You hear the long I. So that sneaky E makes the I say the long sound, which is I. It says its name. Now look at how we separate the letters in the word time. You've got your consonant sounds that we've circled, the T and the M, which are T, M. Then you've got your connection of your vowels. Do you see how they connected them? They kind of drew like a donut around them. You hear the letter E. You don't hear the letter E, right? But the letter E has a job. What's its job? It makes the I say its name. Now remember, we're going to be doing this in an activity coming up. The word is time. Now let's touch spell the word time. T-I-M. Now let's practice reading some other words. Mine. I. Shine. Sh. I. Ride. I. D. Remember, the sneaky E at the end of a word makes that long vowel, so that I is going to say its name. Now let's practice reading these words. These are our long I sounds with that sneaky E. You're going to see these words again in our story that we'll read today. Let's start with the first column. Let's read the words. Remember, the vowel A is going to say its name, A, because of the sneaky E. Plain, take, came, drapes, face, made, tail. Let's do it a little faster. Plain, take, came, drapes, face, made, tail. Great job. We want to be good, fluent readers. Now let's read the next column. Remember, these words have the I sound because of the sneaky E. It's a long vowel for I. Now the second word, look at the word bedtime. You notice that there's two vowel sounds. We have the eh and the I. So be careful with that one because that one is a compound word. All right, let's read the words going down. Mike, bedtime, smiled, liked. Now let's read them a little faster. Mike, bedtime, smiled, liked. Great job. Now let's practice chaining as a group with the magic E card. Read this word. Sound it out. Mad. When you add a sneaky E to the word mad, it makes the word made. Great job. It makes that A change from ah to A. So that word becomes made. E magically changes the vowel sound in some words. Read the word rip. Now what would happen if we put a sneaky E at the end? It would change that I sound, right? It would say I, and the word would be ripe. Awesome job. Now look at this word. Read your word. Tap. Think about your sneaky E. What would it do to our word? What would the word become? Awesome. The word becomes tape because your sneaky E is now working with that A and it doesn't say ah. It will now say A because they're working together. Pin. Think about this one. If we put a sneaky E at the end, what would happen? Boom! Our word would change to pine. So now our I is going to say its name, pine. Try this one. Grip. Think about your I. What would your I change to with the sneaky E? Gripe. Good. The word would become gripe. Let's try another one. Rat. Awesome. The word becomes rate because your A and your E work together and it makes that long A sound. Rate. Cap. Think about your sneaky E. What would it do to your ah? It would change it, right? And it would say A. What's the word? Alakazam. It is cape. It would then say cape because the A is going to say its name. All right. Our last one. Hid. Hid. Add that E at the end and alakazam, we would have hide. The I would then say its name. Hide. Now, I want you to find worksheet 1.3 on the magic E. It's in your packet, so pause the video now and look for 1.3 in your packet. When you find worksheet 1.3, you are going to circle those consonants like we did in the few examples, and you're going to put that ring around those vowels. So you're going to connect your vowel to your sneaky E at the end. Now, if you need to rewind the video a little bit to go back and see what it looked like again, you may need to rewind the video just so you can see the example again. But you're going to circle your consonant sounds, and you're going to connect those vowels because you know your E and your A go together with that magic E. It makes that vowel a long vowel sound. You're going to complete worksheet 1.3 now, and then you may start the video again. Now let's read our tricky words. And remember, these tricky words, they're words that you have to memorize because they have a rule breaker. Something in them doesn't follow a rule, so we can't sound them out like normal words. We're going to practice some of our tricky words. I like to read by the pool. I. You. Do you want to watch a movie? You. What does that sentence have at the end of it? It's a question mark. Good. That sentence is a question. The big word for question is interrogative. It's an interrogative sentence. Your. Please wash your hands. Your. Look at that sentence. What does it end in? It ends in an exclamation point because it's an exclamatory sentence. When you see that exclamation point, how do you read the sentence? You kind of shout it, don't you? You read it with excitement. Street. Always look both ways before crossing the street. Now we're going to have a few wiggle cards. So take a break for a second and let's get some of the wiggles out. Stand up and run in place. Do a little jog, run in place, get some of those wiggles out. Now we're going to slide like a snake. Come on, you're the slithery little snake. You're going to slide like a snake. Now we're going to smile, not once, but twice. So you're going to give me a big smile 2 times. Smile twice. So now we smiled. Now you're going to hike up a hill. Pretend there's a big hill right in front of you, and you're going to hike up this big hill. After you get up that hill, you're going to have a seat, and we're going to finish up what we were doing today. Now we're going to look into our story for the day, and it is titled Mike's Bedtime. You see some of these words that we've been practicing reading. Mike's Bedtime, those sneaky E's. All right, let's practice our words that are going to be in our story. So let's read them fluently. So we're going to read them in a nice, quick, correct way. Let's start with the first column. Plain take, came, drapes, face, made, tail. Now let's go to the next column. Mike, bedtime, smiled, liked. Be prepared to see some of these words in our. Let's look at a couple of words before we read our story. These words, you may not know what they mean, but I'm going to explain to you what they mean, so it will help you with comprehension when you're reading the story. It will help you understand it. Okay, the first one is drapes. Drapes are kind of like curtains. It's like more of a long curtain. It's something you hang on your window. Slumped. Think about how you would look slumped in your desk. Show me how you would look slumped in your desk. You can see her slumped kind of over, her head's kind of down. And look at the girl that's sulking. When she's sulking, she's mad, isn't she? She's probably pouting over something. That word sulking, they're kind of like pacing back and forth in a mad way. Look at her face. And the last one is glinting. Look at the girl glinting. Does that look like she's pretty happy? It does, right? You even see that sunshine behind her glinting. Now, before we read, let's think about some important things that we have discussed about our stories in the past and how they have kind of helped us with comprehension of our stories. Characters. Characters are in stories. Characters are the people or animals that are in the stories. You often have a main character who is in the story the most. Then sometimes you have those supporting characters. They're in there a little bit, but they're not the main character. The setting of a story. The setting of the story is where the story takes place. Now, this could deal with the location. It could also tell you the time of day. But your setting is where the story takes place, and that really helps with comprehension. Now, your plot is more of your beginning, middle, and end. It's the events in the story. Usually there's a problem and a solution. So with these big events that are the beginning, middle, and end, your problem is solved. That is the plot of the story. Now we are going to read the story Mike's Bedtime together. So you guys can follow along on the screen as I read the story aloud to you. I'm going to read it fluently. I'm going to read it where you can listen and comprehend through listening. And then we will answer some questions on Mike's bedtime. Mike's bedtime. Mike had his jet plane in his left hand. Zip, zing, he yelled. Take that, T-Rex. Just then his dad came in and said, Mike, it's bedtime. But Dad, Mike said, I'm 7. Can't I sit up a bit? Mike's dad said, not if the sun is down and the street lamp is on. Then it's bedtime. Mike said, but if the street lamp is off, it's not bedtime yet. Mike ran to check on the lamp and the sun. He yanked back the drapes. The sun had set. It was pitch black. The street lamp was glinting in the blackness. It was bedtime. Ugh, Mike said. He slumped and let his chin drop on his chest. Bedtime, his dad said. Mike limped to his bed and plopped down on it. He made a face that said, I wish it was not bedtime. Mike didn't think it would help much. He shrugged. When I was a kid, his dad said, your Gramp would tell me bedtime tales. I like them. I'll bet I can still tell a lot of them. Okay, said Mike. I would like one bedtime tale. Mike's dad sat down on the bed and patted Mike on the back of the neck. This is a bedtime tale your Gramp liked to tell me, he said. Now let's answer a couple of questions about our story. Who are the two main characters in the story? Remember who the two main characters are? What is the setting of the story? Where and when did the story take place? Now remember, all of these things help with comprehension. They help you to understand the story. So when you can answer these, you're showing that you understand the story. What was the plot? What was the problem and the events in this story? Think about the beginning. What happened at the beginning? What happened in the middle? And then what happened at the end of the story? Now you are going to find worksheet 1.4 in your packet. You are going to use the story that we just read in your comprehension skills to answer the questions about Mike's bedtime. Do your best. Remember your worksheets 1.1 and 1.2. Keep them at home, share them with a family member. Now let's recall our I can statements that we did today. I can practice my new spelling words. We practiced our new group of words with the ED at the end. I can read different short and long vowel spellings. So that sneaky E, we learned that sneaky E today. And we asked and answered questions using key details in the story Mike's Bedtime. Have a great day, and we will see you tomorrow.